Mortati now realized that the Camerlengo, whether consciously or not, was making a brilliant move. By showing the cardinals, he was personalizing the Church. Vatican City was no longer a building, it was people like the Camerlengo who had spent their lives in the service of goodness. Tonight we are perched on a precipice, the Camerlengo said. None of us can afford to be apathetic. Whether you see this evil as Satan, corruption, or immorality, the dark force is alive and growing every day. Do not ignore it. The Camerlengo lowered his voice to a whisper, and the camera moved in. The force, though mighty, is not invincible. Goodness can prevail. Listen to your hearts. Listen to God. Together we can step back from this abyss. Now Mortati understood. This was the reason. Conclave had been violated, but this was the only way. It was a dramatic and desperate plea for help. The Camerlengo was speaking to both his enemy and his friends now. He was entreating anyone, friend or foe, to see the light and stop this madness. Certainly someone listening would realize the insanity of this plot and come forward. The Camerlengo knelt at the altar. Pray with me. The College of Cardinals dropped to their knees to join him in prayer. Outside in St. Peter's Square and around the globe, a stunned world knelt with them. '95. The assassin lay his unconscious trophy in the rear of the van and took a moment to admire her sprawled body. She was not as beautiful as the women he bought, and yet she had an animal strength that excited him. Her body was radiant, dewy with perspiration. She smelled of musk. As the assassin stood there savoring his prize, he ignored the throb in his arm. The bruise from the falling sarcophagus, although painful, was insignificant. Well worth the compensation that lay before him. He took consolation in knowing the American who had done this to him was probably dead by now. Gazing down at his incapacitated prisoner, the assassin visualized what lay ahead. He ran a palm up beneath her shirt. Her breasts felt perfect beneath her bra. Yes, he smiled. You are more than worthy. Fighting the urge to take her right there, he closed the door and drove off into the night. There was no need to alert the press about this killing. The flames would do that for him. At CERN, Sylvie sat stunned by the Camerlegno's address. Never before had she felt so proud to be a Catholic and so ashamed to work at CERN. As she left the recreational wing, the mood in every single viewing room was dazed and somber. When she got back to Kohler's office, all 7 phone lines were ringing. Media inquiries were never routed to Kohler's office, so the incoming calls could only be one thing. Geld. Money calls. Antimatter technology already had some takers. Inside the Vatican, Gunther Glick was walking on air as he followed the Camerlegno from the Sistine Chapel. Glick and Mockery had just made the live transmission of the decade. And what a transmission it had been. The Camerlegno had been spellbinding. Now out in the hallway, the Camerlegno turned to Glick and Mockery. I have asked the Swiss Guard to assemble photos for you, photos of the branded cardinals as well as one of His late Holiness. I must warn you, these are not pleasant pictures. Ghastly burns. Blackened tongues. But I would like you to broadcast them to the world. Glick decided it must be perpetual Christmas inside Vatican City. He wants me to broadcast an exclusive photo of the dead Pope? Are you sure? Glick asked, trying to keep the excitement from his voice. The Camerlegno nodded. The Swiss Guard will also provide you a live video feed of the antimatter canister as it counts down.